start out, we'll just load my dashboard up here. We'll just do a refresh. So this is my all-time earnings. This is a picture example of some of the work I do. It's extremely realistic, and these are some of my earnings. So the first thing we have to know is, the first thing we have to handle is the model. So the first question you might have is, how do I make a model? And this is how I recommend you do it now in the current climate, which is today, September 24th, 2025. So yeah. I recommend you go to this website. It's called Alive AI. Now, fair warning, this is an NSFW website. This is not the only website that can do this. There's a lot of different AI websites like MySnapBase and stuff like that. We really just need one image, one reference image that'll work to make our model, and I'll explain why in a second. But Alive AI is really good. It makes really realistic photos. Just make sure when you're prompting, ask them to generate a photo. Describe a girl you want. I don't know. Say you want like a brunette woman. Describe it and say like a portrait of up close of her face photo, so you can get like a portrait photo of her, so you can get a really high quality face photo. And then you want to find a current model on Instagram. This is one way to do it. This is not how I do it, but it's kind of bordering on, it's kind of gray hat. It's bordering along the line of if it's allowed or not. Really, what I recommend you do is you get some sort of permission from somebody to use their photos, just their body photos, not their face photos, or find some like free images online. Right here, this is just an Instagram profile viewer website. So this is a random girl I found. As you can see, these are her posts. So this is like the kind of the vibe we're going for, like this, selfie, white girl type aesthetic vibe, Instagram type vibe. Because really we're going to be building and getting our followers from social media platforms. So Instagram is like the main poster boy for that, So what you're going to want to do is download around 80 photos, 70 photos of a girl, and you can download posts with this website. There's lots of different ways to download posts, but you really just want her body, right? And then you want to go to this website. It's called remaker.ai, and you want to face swap the reference photo you made from like Alive AI, and then you want to put that onto 70 images of this same person, right? So you're basically creating a woman that does not exist, right? And then when you put it into training, it's gonna basically make it into a brand new woman too, because it's not gonna train the exact same woman, right? So this is a website. It's called remaker.ai, and it's face swapping. So you upload the image, the original image, which is this one is where you put the original image, the target face, and it's going to be like a portrait face of her, right? And you upload the 70 images that you got from an Instagram account or whatever, and then that's of the same body, and it'll spit out 80 images of a brand new woman, right? Because they're using an AI face on a real woman's face. That makes a fake girl, right? And that's what we're going to be using to train. Alright, so now you have your data set of 70 images of a woman that does not exist. Now, actually, this is very important, and this is a detail that like people don't really drill in a lot. The data set is a lot. Like, the data set is almost everything. Like, it needs to be high quality. It needs to be looking good. As HD as possible, you know what I'm saying? But you also want it to be that Instagram vibe, like that taking pictures with an iPhone 16, iPhone 17, you know what I'm saying? That kind of quality. So now that you have your data set, there are many different ways to train a LoRa file. But first, I want to explain to you what a LoRa file is if you don't know. Like, a lot of people might know what this is, but what a LoRa file is it's just basically a file, a .safe tensors file. And what this file is it's basically your model in a file. And then you can plug this file into different workflows all over the internet or different things. And we'll get into that, but think of LoRa as your model in a file, right? Alright, so here's the thing. You have to train your model with your data set, right? So just like any AI system, you have to train it, right? So tensor.art is like honestly, it's not good. It's really bad in my opinion. But that's just because I've been doing this for a while, and I've really felt out every other way to do this. There's multiple ways to train these LoRa files, and tensor.art is not the best, but it works for beginners trying to get into the space, right? So if you don't know what you're doing exactly, just use this because it's super easy, right? So you just go to tensor.art/train, make an account, and then you upload your images here, right? Upload 70 images, and then we're going to start with Flux. So you want to click Flux standard right here, Flux 1 dev, and yep, Flux 1 dev, and just keep these at the same. And then your trigger word, let's say your girl's name is Hannah. So you're just going to put in Hannah, and that's going to be a trigger word. And every time you type this in a prompt, it's going to generate Hannah, which is your girl, right? And you just click start training. It costs some money. And yeah, and then you'll get your model, and it's that easy, right? However, if you are a little more tech savvy, hold on, I need to pause this for a second. Okay, I'm back. As I was saying, if you are tech savvy, when it comes to coding or working with Linux or working with Python, there are better ways to do this, and I recommend you do this. The real way to do it, like I wrote here, is to train a Flux 1 dev LoRa using Koya_SS or Musubi Trainer. If you could do it locally if you have a good computer. Mostly NVIDIA GPUs. If you have like a NVIDIA 5090, honestly, that might not be good enough depending on what you're doing, because you need a lot of video RAM to do this. So actually, what I recommend you do is use a GPU cloud computing platform like RunPod. And like this is RunPod right here. Basically, you can rent these GPUs, right? So, where is it? H100 SXM. This one right here, it's $269 an hour, so it's kind of expensive. I mean, it's not that bad, but it's more expensive than if you're using like a 5090 or an A40. But yeah, this one is, if you're training like a Flux LoRa or any other one, or like a WAN LoRa, you probably don't know what these mean, and I'm going to get into that and explain everything. But I would recommend using an H100 SXM on RunPod because you need some heavy GPU power to train these LoRas. Back here, so yeah, to do this, you're going to need basic Linux and Python skills. So for beginners, just use tensor.art because it's going to take you like a week of just trying this. It took me about a week to figure out how to do that, probably less, but like I was like going ham at it. And I also have a background in computer science, so yeah. So back right here, these are the different base models. I wanted to quickly explain this because if you're a complete beginner, you really won't know what this means. So I recommend you start out with Flux 1 dev. Basically, these base models are just different models you can train your LoRa on, and each one is a little bit different, right? New ones are coming out all the time. Flux is kind of the first one that people have been using ever since this whole thing started back in like 2022. I don't know the exact date it came out, but this is like the main one that everyone uses. Flux Kriya is also good. It's kind of like a spin-off of Flux 1 dev, but I recommend Flux 1 dev to start, and actually you're probably going to use this for a long time. And then obviously Flux Kriya is the next one. It's pretty good too. SDXL is good. You're going to need an XDXL one if you want to get into your NSFW stuff, which I'm going to get into later in the video. And then these two just came out recently. WAN 2.2 video is basically like a video model, but it's also good for image generation. And then Quen, I don't know too much about Quen because I basically like been working on all these the past couple months, and I haven't really gotten to Quen, but they're basically all the same. They all have different pros and different cons, right? And as you get into this business model, you will learn about all this, right? So now you have your LoRa. It should be a Flux 1 dev LoRa. Save tensors file on your computer, right? So now you have a .save tensors file, and keep this safe. Back this up, keep it on a flash drive, whatever, because you don't want to lose it. Next, we're going to use Comfy UI to generate these images, and basically what Comfy UI is it's an open source software. You run it on your computer, if you have a good GPU, or RunPod. This is where we do our prompting, save our images, and build workflows using our LoRa. So it's like for example, if you're in ChatGPT, right, you type a prompt and it gives you an answer. You're not using your GPU on that. You're using OpenAI's GPUs, right? And that's why it costs $20 a month. Comfy UI is open source and it runs on your computer, so you need good GPUs. It doesn't have like a cloud computing GPU like built in like ChatGPT does, right? And Comfy UI is basically just for images and videos, and actually it's really for anything. Like there's workflows for a lot of stuff too, but yeah. So I actually have a tutorial on how to set this up using RunPod, and some workflows, yeah, in my open Discord. So yeah, you can check that out if you want. So these are some example images that I have. This is like, this is honestly not my best work, but I just wanted to put it up here so you can see what you can do. This one was made with tensor.art, so it's not the best, but yeah. So we have our images. We can create consistent women in different settings, clothing, and facial expressions. So this is the important part, is creating consistent characters, right? So like this woman right here. Now a little side note here. These are good for socials, like posting on FanView, which we're going to get into. And but what about your NSFW images, right? So to do that, you have to train a LoRa. Let me zoom in here a little bit. So to do that, to get your NSFW, you have to train a LoRa on the XDXL based model like we talked about earlier, right? And use the same exact data set you used for Flux, so it comes out like as similar as possible. I know my camera's shaking. I don't know why. I'm going to try to fix that later. But yeah, so train a LoRa. You can use tensor.art for this, or you can also use the other methods that I talked about. If I'll probably come out with a video on how to do all this stuff. Just copy and paste, because it's really not that hard. If you just can, if you're a coherent individual, you can get this done, no problem. If you're a problem solver, it's easy. So here's just a quick example of an SDXL workflow in Comfy UI, right here. So you basically, SDXL works kind of like with checkpoints. Now there's hundreds, thousands of checkpoints on websites all over the internet. Civet AI is primarily where I get all of mine, and different checkpoints do different things. Checkpoints is basically like the model that it's going to be pulling from when you attach your LoRa to it, and it's going to like put them together and spit out an image, right, including your prompt and everything. So you want to get like an NSFW checkpoint, put your SDXL LoRa in there, and you should be good to go. You can start prompting and typing out prompts what you want, and it should spit out some decent images, right? But now that you have your NSFW images, I recommend that you do not post these anywhere except when you're selling pay-per-view messages in chat with fans, right? So don't post these on your feed, don't post these on social media, don't do anything like that. Just use these for pay-per-view only when you're with your fans and you're trying to make money, right? So next, we need a place to post images, chat with fans, and collect payments. So that's the whole reason we're doing this, right? Is to collect payments. So FanView is kind of the main thing for this. I've heard a little bit about DFans. I don't know much about it. I'm pretty sure you can allow AI models, and like just use FanView for now. Eventually, if FanView gets labeled as like the AI girl thing, you're gonna want to move to like DFans or something too. But just do FanView for now, because I think it's still really good. So create your account, verify, set up a profile, everything, make it look real, make it look good. And here are some examples of like some of the money you can make. Like it's pretty wild. Like you don't realize the things men do to women online. They just send stupid money to you for no reason, right? Sometimes you don't even have to use NSFW images. They'll just tip you money to talk to you or whatever. And then I have chatting scripts in my Discord. And then when it comes to chatting, eventually you're gonna want to hire a chatter. So you can hire a virtual assistant to do this. Onlinejobs.ph. People from the Philippines, you can hire them for like $2 an hour or something, and you can train them and ask ChatGPT to write you up like a training guide, so you can like interview these people and make sure they're good and they can actually do what you need them to do. with your fans, and they can talk like an American woman and stuff like that, right? And you can give them your scripts, which I also have scripts in my Discord, and yeah, then all you have to focus on is marketing. And that's what we're going into next, is marketing. So I wrote this down. Marketing is the most important part of any business, including AI models. And this is true, right? Because I've said this before in the past. Anybody can create a business, an e-commerce brand, a SaaS business, an AI model. Anyone can do it. It's not that hard, especially with AI nowadays. Like, you can launch an AI startup within 2 days. You know what I mean? You can create an e-com business with Shopify within an hour. But the big question is can you market it? Can you get signups? Can you get people to give you money? That's really the hard part. And that's why marketing is the most important part of any business. And if you are a skilled marketer, you'll be set for life, because everyone needs marketers nowadays. And nowadays, the only type of marketing that's going on is on social media, right? Because that's where everything is. So if you can be a social media marketer and actually be a good one, you'll make a lot of money. For marketing, these are just some random models. These aren't my models. These are just some people that I found, like, doing market research and stuff, and scrolling on Instagram, scrolling on TikTok, and trying to find these AI models and see what they're doing, so you can kind of scope out the competition, right? So this is a main IG. This one looks pretty good. You want to make sure the pictures look good and like real, and like that Instagram aesthetic, right? And then the TikToks too, main TikTok. Just start with one main IG and one main TikTok. You can scale as you get going, but really you don't need like 10 TikToks right off the bat, right? Just start with one. And then here's some like Instagram information I wrote down. So at the start, you just want to make one account for your main Instagram. Fill out your profile feed, then start posting reels. And do not put the link in your bio yet, because Instagram is like restricting accounts that like put the link in the bio right away, or like not even just for adult content. Like, really, if you make an Instagram account nowadays and the Instagram algorithm picks up that you're just trying to abuse the system and send traffic somewhere, they're gonna restrict your account. So you just gotta play this slow, especially with Instagram, because every move you make matters. So just keep it really slow. And then eventually you're going to want to make a second account, ideally on a different device and a different IP, and then put the link in this one, and then make it private and just add a profile picture. And then add the second account in your main IG bio. So do not do this for at least 30 days after a fresh account is created to avoid restrictions. Also, if you want, you can boost some IG photos. Boosting is basically like the in-house meta ads thing. You don't need like a meta ads manager or anything. You can just boost within your account, attach your credit card. It's really simple. Get some early followers, get some early traction, and then I do not recommend you buy engagement. Some people say like, oh, you should buy some followers, buy some likes. I don't think this is a good idea at all. I think, it's called organic for a reason, so everything should be organic, right? Alright, and then, so right here I wrote, like, you can also use X, Threads, Reddit. These all work, but, I recommend focusing on just one or two platforms at the start, right? You don't want to be, like, doing 10 different things, because you're not going to be able to hone in on one of them and really, like, get the best out of it. Lastly is going to be your bridge page. So this is, like, this is what you see, like, you've seen this before, like, you go into Real Models bio and they have, like, a link tree or a who.be, stuff like this. So, it's real simple. Just make it look real, put a link to your fan view account in there. It's called a bridge page. So it's like the bridge between your social medias and the actual location you want to push your traffic to. So, like, who.be is good. A lot of people use who.be. And yeah, so if you'd like, I have a Discord. There's a lot of different AI. There's a lot of filled with like AI model marketers, right? Really successful people there, and it's basically just a community where we try to master this business model. So yeah, feel free to join that. And that's it. That's all I got. So this is the full, updated, not updated. This is my first video, but yeah, it's like a full AI models tutorial. And I hope you got something out of this and learned something from it. But yeah.